Okay. Alrighty. What is up, everybody? Happy Saturday to you. I feel so rested. I went to bed early. Um, got
I
up.
feel so rested.
Uh-oh, there it is. I was waiting for it to pop up. Boom. Put me on mute. I feel rested. I went to bed early, got up relatively early, did a few things, and then I went back to sleep until about 9 o'clock. Then I got up and I went in my kids' room and I just really just did a massive overhaul in it. But the one last thing that I needed to do is clean the walls. And as I'm cleaning the walls, I'm just so perplexed. Like, how does stuff get on the ceilings? Like, I don't understand that. So I've been cleaning ceiling this morning in my kids' room, and now it's just exactly the way I want it to be. So I'm gonna be kind of hard on them the next going into the New Year's because I'm like one of those moms, like the old school moms. It's like they want their house clean, they want everything organized out of there by the New Year's. Like if you got one of them old school moms, right? They get stuff out, old clothes, you outgrew them, they give it to charity, right? I'm used to that around this time of year, so I kind of my siblings say that I'm the most like my mom. And I do feel that way. I am my mother completely, and I'm okay with that because my mom is all right. She taught me a lot of things. I didn't appreciate them in the beginning, but now as I'm older, I have my own kids. I appreciate everything my mom said, taught me, drilled in me. Didn't like it in that during the time she was giving me those lessons, but I definitely appreciate them now. So if you got a mom like that, show her some love. It's okay to go back and say, Mom, you were right. Man, talk about life and how it played out. You were right, right? Because typically your parents are going to know, right? They know they've been in this game called life. I'm going to say that until the cows come home. They've been in this game called life longer than you. And so, therefore, right, they just know, right? And I think we live in a society, a culture of people beyond America where listening to your parents is just like, it's almost like this rebellion that is being fostered. Not listening to your parents is a rebellion that is being fostered in children. It's very satanic. It is very, very satanic, right? And you can thank social media, you can thank all these victim junkies and class victim junkies, hurt mentality victims, right? Everybody has a story that they're victimized by. And yet, many of these people, they're not interested in reconciling because playing the victim card is just convenient for them in life. So, you got all these mindsets in society about this and that. And if you are a YouTuber and you like, listening to different perspectives on YouTube, then you notice like even like in the love and the dating space, right? There are a lot of just all over perspectives. You have these victims of something. In this red pill space, you have these beta men who have been rejected all their lives from women by women, right? And then they get this idea of power and wealth with their money because it's only the money that is giving them valuation. And now all of a sudden they have this mindset about themselves versus women. And it's just a cycle of just sad behaviors. You have women who are on this sexual revolution and here I am woman, hear me roar, and we are the same as men. We're equal to men. We can do the same thing as men. And I think reality always is the best teacher for most people if they're learning. Some people never learn, right? So I was looking at YouTube and what's going on, Chad? I see you. What's going on? Be strong. Give show some love from England. I see you. Be strong, right? Cuban Smith, I see you. Pam, we see you. What's going on, beautiful? And Lil, what is it? Lil Hitty, we see you. All right. AK Blaze, we see you. We're talking about some of these voices in the space. Now, anybody that comes on to this particular channel, I want to prepare you guys. All right. I like to be real over here, right? And I believe that if human beings align themselves more with divine ideologies and balance, things will go better for them, right? And I think that a lot of times in this world, we don't really know what that is because it seems to be a hint of righteousness in all of these types of archetypes of people, right, who are trying to convince you of an idea, right? There's always that hint of divinity, right? But again, you're talking about people who may be playing at the table of God, but they're also playing at the table of demons. And so these type of folks, right, they don't understand that, a lot of things that they're projecting, even if there's a righteousness in it, there's also Satanism in it. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard like this social media, I guess, viral backlash or commentary about, I guess, a TikToker named Cooking with Kai. And on the surface, you're like, well, what's wrong with this girl? Like, I mean, because I'm just hearing what other people are saying. So they're like, well, she's a woman who believes that women should cook for their men. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that seems like a reasonable thing that a woman would, be interested in doing. That's not something way outside of, what has been done before. Why are these people so upset that this young lady is interested in cooking for her man, right? And so I happened to look at THPP Network, and shout out to Corey Holcomb because he was covering this. His network was covering this. And, I got a chance to hear a different people talk about, this particular woman, right? So we're gonna, and like I said, shout out to Corey Holcomb, right? And I'm gonna skip what Corey says in the beginning, right? Because again, Corey speaks a lot of truth, but it's riddled with some spirit of apostasy. And, hopefully that brother can check his tone with certain things, especially if you're infusing God, right? Because it's giving hints of Satan to me sometimes. But again, these are double talking demons, a lot of these people. And so you're going to hear them riddle truth with a fallacious spirit of the truth. And that's really what I'm seeing with a lot of these commentators and these people. The demons, the devil knows the truth. And that's one thing we need to understand. The devil knows the truth, but there's nothing that prevents him from skewing that truth with some fallacy, of some sort. And this is what I think people are really seeing as we see social media and these content creators really become more of a voice than your conventional media machines, right? People are now inundated with perspectives, right? As opposed to there just being a targeted group of people who were information warriors. Now you have all these information warriors across platforms that people can indulge in. And so you always are going to find the people who believe the same way that you do, right? And then you may find the contraries. You're going to find everything on the social media. But this Cooking with Kai, like I said, I'm never going to down a woman for doing her duties, which is providing for the household and cooking for her man. That is one of her duties. Now, I grew up where, women actually served their man their plate, right? So if you are with a man, right, it's not like, hey, dinner's ready, go get your shit, right? It's like you make the plate. Usually women are eating last, like they're cooking the food and they're eating last. They're serving the man, then they're serving the children, right? She's usually eating last in these traditional households, right? And really, that's the nurturer in her. That's not something necessarily that her man is demanding of her. It's just really, it's like I want to make sure that all these people I care about are fed, right? I used to have a friend who's Chaldean, and obviously her mom was a traditional wife, and very nurturing, right? So anytime her friends came over, it was always like, eat, even if you're not hungry. Like my friend was like, you got to eat something because you'll offend her. She wants to make sure that you eat. And I'm like, well, what if I just tell her I did eat? No, it's not enough. It's not enough. This is a Chaldean mom. It's Angie, you never eat anything. I'm like, oh, Okay. And she gave me some of that red rice, and I just literally had to go outside and throw it all up because it was that horrible, right? But her dolma is the truth. Like her grape leaves and all those little onions and stuff. I love Chaldean food. I love Chaldean food. But off of that, what I'm saying is that, this is the nurturing aspect of traditional wives, right? And this may be perplexing for women who have bought into hyper feminist demonic spirits. It's perplexing for them for a woman to just be that immersed in her natural state, right? And so when I see people giving backlash to this young lady for wanting to be connected to her natural feminine state, it just reveals to me how satanic this world is, right? But on the flip side, with Cooking with Kai, I'm not, as much as men are coming to her defense and they're like, what's wrong with her cooking for a man? They're missing the bigger picture that Cooking with Kai is not the type of woman that you want to be with, even if her ass cooked for you. Because you're like, as I'm looking at this Cooking with Kai chick, right? One thing I notice is that she does look like she cooked tasty meals. But she also looks like a woman that if she's out with her man, she's going to be shaking her ass for all the other men to see, right? So that they could covet her, right? And that's going to make things mad complicated for him. And some people will say it's jealousy, but at the end of the day, no man want other men coveting their women. So as Cooking with Kai is demonstrating her cooking skills and why she likes cooking for her man, she's also revealing to me at least that she likes to shake her ass for all men beyond her man because she's not just on social media cooking, right? She's on social media shaking her ass, right? And the chauvinist dudes, right? The chauvinist dudes, they're like, there's nothing wrong with her, right? Yeah, you're gonna get with a woman like that, and she's gonna cook for your ass while she's shaking her ass for every other man. And you're not gonna be able to say shit about it because she already told you what she's about. I cook for your ass, but I like to shake my ass in front of everybody, right? And this is what I see this Cooking with Kai chick really is about. It's like a double messaging, like I said, double talking demons, right? It's double messaging here, where she's doing a righteous and feminine thing intertwined with this feminist energy of I can shake my ass, I'm a bad bitch, right? I can shake my ass, I'm a bad bitch for everybody, right? And then let me get to the comments here. So there was a lot of interesting perspectives on there. Hang on for 1 second. All right. So you love my hair? I gotta get it redone. This is like, man, you see all the new growth and stuff? It's like I gotta get it redone. Let's see. I'm not sure about that. I think some men take a measure of pride in knowing that they're in a relationship with a desirable woman. It's not the fact that it's not the fact that them having a desirable woman, right? Because remember Abraham and Sarah. Sarah was beautiful. Abraham knew that he had a very desirable woman because he couldn't even take her nowhere without the kings of the lands wanting to covet being with Sarah, right? So Abraham even knew that he had a beautiful, desirable woman, and he loved her so much that when they had to go into some of these hostile lands, he told her, "Hey, you're my sister. You're not my wife," because he knew like they would kill him, right? And he couldn't protect her dead, right? So he had to pretend like he was her brother, right? And but at the same time, God protected their relationship, right? The beauty of their relationship, right? Because every time a king tried to wife her, he brought plagues upon his people. So that is just to say that, yeah, I agree with you, Be Strong, that men definitely, like it when their woman is beautiful enough where other men desire them. But this is a beauty that to me is more of the enchanting of the face and maybe the demeanor. A lot of times when a woman is going out being half naked and shaking her ass, I'm not sure if that's the type of desirability that men really want other men having other women, because that just leads to trouble. It just leads to trouble. There's a difference between, a guy looking at a woman who's married and saying she's beautiful and she's graceful, and he's able to acknowledge those qualities by her demeanor, her character. That's a different acknowledgement than, damn, his hoe is fine. Look at them titties out of that shirt. They just popping out of her damn shirt, right? Look at that big ass BBL ass she got, right? Right? And she cooking for him too, y'all. Dang. Like, that's a different type of coveting, right? She is intentionally drawing attention to herself in sexual ways, right? Right, the seductive aspect, right? So there's a difference, right? The bottom line is men don't like other men coveting their women. And I would say that it's less likely that a woman who is beautiful yet graceful is going to have the same type of covetousness as a woman who's a slut and projects herself as a slut. It's just a different type of attraction. And even in the minds of reasonable men, I'm not talking about the unreasonable man, I think even they know that, because they don't even approach the beautiful yet graceful women in the same manner that they do the women who are overt in their sexual identity. It's just not, I've never really, and obviously there's men who are slimy, but I've always worked in male dominated space, whether it was automotive or the financial sector. I've never been disrespected overtly by a man, ever. Ever, ever, ever. But I've had men that I've worked around say, "You're a beautiful person, Angie." Right? And there's a difference in that type of acknowledgement of a man to a woman, right? Because even if there was some level of covetousness, it wasn't as overt as them acknowledging the other qualities that made me attractive or beautiful to them. So I just feel like women who sexualize themselves, you were asking for men to covet you in a different way than women who can carry themselves. It's really like the Tia and Tamara scenario, really. It's the Tia and Tamara scenario where you have one sister who chooses to be conservative and graceful, and you have another one who wants to be out here in these streets being holed up, it seems, right? It's that kind of thing. You're not talking about the same covetedness. When men look at Tamara, right, they're not coveting her the same way that they would covet Tia, right? Tia is really that hole over there, that thoughts, right? Whereas Tamara is like, that is wifey, that is this, she's a good girl, right? The good girl versus bad girl thing. But cooking with Kyra, right? She would have been all right with me if she would have been a modest woman sharing a message to women that, hey, it's okay for us to be in tune with our divine femininity. It's okay for us to be in our natural roles, and be fine with that, enjoying and finding joy in it, because there's a lot of housewives who they find joy in what they do, because despite the whole housewife mentality, these bras are really home managers. That's what your housewife, like, they're not sitting on their asses not doing anything. There's a lot of management that is going on with these women, especially when they got kids, right? So they're cooking for everybody. They're washing for everybody, right? They're doing the most, right? And they have the luxury of being able to focus on making sure that the household has the cleanliness, the things the nurturing, everything that it needs, that the guy is probably distracted going to make the money from. He needs that assurance that it's happening at home. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with women who are okay with that role and they want that role, right? But there was some commentary in here where the guy was talking about, a lot of people who are giving backlash to Cooking with Kyra is the older women who are jealous of her, right? Her youthful body, her youthful figure, her youthful this, youthful that, right? And when I look at this commentary, I see a lot of younger women who are sacrifice. Okay, I gotta skip over that. All right, what you talking about, Charleston White? So this is a great overview. But Charleston White, I'm not a fan of Charleston White. I think that again, he's a double talking demon, right? These people can speak facts and truth, but they riddle it with a an overt Satanism, and that's why these people aren't controversial, okay? They're double talking demons. And when you're dealing with a double talking demon, they're going to speak truth riddled with a satanic spirit or undertone. And this is why these people there's contradiction. It's not that people are afraid of the truth. That's not what it is, right? It's just the manner in which the truth is being spoken, right? And I think that the devil has learned how to use these agents of so called truth, right, riddled with his Satanism to, influence a lot of people in their thinking. So we see Charleston White popping up all over the place, Uncle Ruckus, right? And he's double talking. So what you talking about? But he is telling the truth here.
No breakfast, you ain't even had breakfast. And I heard that, right?
So
and I was like, damn, I ain't had no breakfast this morning. And it made me think really like,
that you're being convicted.
Right. It made me really think like, what the f doing? Why don't I eat breakfast in the morning? Like, why don't I have nobody that love me that cook breakfast?
Well,
1, 2, Kaya's coming for you. Wake up and make your man some breakfast before I do.
Okay, so she says, wake up and make your man breakfast before I do. She has, a suggestive outfit on, and she's, spraying the ready whip in her mouth, right? Sexualizing, right? So this cooking with Kyra woman, like if you are a man and you're saying, well, this is the type of woman that I want, right? This is the type of woman that's for everybody. Even hoes can cook breakfast. Some hoes learn how to cook, right? They may take a cooking class. They may have a parent teach them, but even hoes know how to cook, right? So that's really not the thing that you should be distracted with. And so I get that a lot of men want to advocate this woman and protect this woman and stand up for this woman, but you're ultimately standing up for a whore. A woman who projects herself as a whore, sexualizes herself. And when I say whore, she doesn't have to be sleeping with everybody. To me, like, they say we all have our whole phase, right? We live in this age of vanity, right? So you don't really have to be sleeping around, in my mind, to be whoring around. You could just be having your titties out, your whole body out every day on the internet for people to look at and covet. You become masturbation ammo for these people because you're trying to be the object of their desires, right? So you're, virtually whoring yourself, with a lot of these women are doing. And so for me, these men who are sticking up for this woman, I just like to know, are you sticking up for the fact that she is willing to cook for her man? Or are you sticking up for her as a woman that is as a desirable woman, and these other women are just jealous of her because she's desirable and they're not? Because that's what it sounds like the argument is to me. It's like, these women are just jealous because this woman is desirable. Men want to be with her, right? And ain't nobody checking for them, right? But it's like, let's examine why men want to be with her, right? Her titties are for everybody. This is beyond cleavage, a little cleavage, right? Her titties are for everybody. She's in here talking about, if you don't cook breakfast for your man, I will. And then she proceeds to squirt whipped cream in her mouth. Like, and this is who men are defending. This is who women are supposed to be jealous of, right? Your masturbation ammo type of woman on the internet. Like, give me a break. And this guy had the audacity. I don't know who this guy is because I don't really follow a lot of these bloggers. But he said something that was really interesting. And, for some reason, a couple of days ago, I was listening to Kendrick Lamar, And it was that one sign in Be Humble where he's like, show me something. He was like, what do you say? I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Photoshop. Show me something natural. Like, he says, he was like, show me something like ass with some stretch marks, right? Because ass with some stretch marks says that this woman has actually bared children, right? Not just gotten fat. Like, I mean, she's bared children, or her body has fluctuated, right? It's not perfect, right? And it kind of reminded me of this, and I was thinking about my own 40-year-old body, and it's like I think about my younger body, and we have our bodies goes through phases, right? As we get older, our bodies, our faces, it goes through the phases. So if you were a person that never had kids, your body is still going to go through the phase. You just may not have the widening, stretching out as some other women do, right? But I'm looking at my body like I don't covet my younger body. I don't covet my younger body. It would be irrational for me to covet my younger body because I've had 3 children come out of it. Right? I've had moments where my younger body was stretched out, my hips, everything, right? And so to me, I don't look at younger women and look at their bodies, their tighter bodies as saying, "Oh, I wish I had that too." They haven't earned my stripes. They're not even women, and they haven't even really reached full blown womanhood in my mind in the lioness den until you actually push out a cub. You just a chick. You just a chick that gets a period. Like, to me, real womanhood is you pushed out cubs. And people can disagree with that all they want to because Satan got these people hating the gift of life and procreation that God gave us. But to me, real women got cubs. And if this cooking for Kyra chick is like in her mid-20s, right? Where's the dude that's about to give her a baby? Like, you're a bad bitch. You cook for your man, right? That's great. But what else are you going to give him? What else are you going to give him besides your body and food? Because I will tell you right now, those things have a limited time frame of value in any relationship. At some point, men are going to be looking for some value in this woman. So if I'm holding it all down here, right, you're going to be able to hold it down here, make reasonable decisions. I don't know a lot of bad bitches that don't make bad decisions. They overspend. They have a spending problem. And I know this because I talk to a lot of people in my career because I'm an advisor. And so I don't just look at people from a financial standpoint. I look at them from a behavioral standpoint because a lot of people's attitudes of money is a reflection of what they have been taught or have not been taught, right? A lot of people running around with the scarcity mindset about money. So a lot of them, they get a little money, they don't know what to do with it, but spend it, right? They don't know how to make it work for them. Right? So I look at things from a behavioral standpoint when I'm dealing with people. And I can tell you right now, more times than not, the women with the bad bitch mentality, they have spending problems. And because they have spending problems, long term, they are not good assets to a man. They're just not. Especially a man who has some idea of financial stability and planning. These bad bitches are not going to work for you because while they're giving you that ass and that food, they're going to be expecting something much more from you, right? They need you to want to maintain getting that ass and food, so you're going to have to pay for that. So this is really what the types of chicks like this cooking with Kyra type gives off to me. Because anytime a woman starts saying, I'm a bad bitch, and trust and believe, once upon a time, I had that mentality about myself too, right? But once you get into that territory, men are luxuries. They're luxuries. They're not necessities. And when men become luxuries in the mind of a woman, and a luxury is something nice to have, but it's not essential. Luxuries are nice to have, but they're not essentials, right? This is when men start being like that in the minds of women. It doesn't matter if she cooks for you and just gives you that good loving. She is about to siphon your ass, short squeeze your ass, slowly but surely. And a lot of men have dealt with this in their life. And this is why they're running around angry as hell now, don't want to get remarried, don't want to do anything relating to their finances being intermingled with a woman, because they're not vetting the type of woman. They're trying to date a cooking with Kyra, right? And this woman is very low value in her soul, and she's disgraceful at every level. She's shaking her ass for a bunch of dudes on the internet. And I don't think a lot of men really who are protecting that really sees through that. But this guy makes a good point too. And again, he does a little skit about women doing the 50-50 thing. And so, and this, I guess they're putting this in there because in men's mind, if you're not doing what Kyra is doing, shaking your ass and cooking for me, right, then you need to be putting half on the bills too. Like, and he's saying that, and so this guy does a little skit.
Of this money, soon to be the
And again, shout out to THPP
I ain't splitting the bills
Network.
50-50 with no man. I'd rather pay them by myself and be independent. So instead of splitting a $2,000 rent and having a band in your pocket, you'd rather be broke just to say you didn't go half with a man. Exactly. Stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
These women sound so dumb, some
I
of
do
them.
not think that is what the that means.
They are angry and mad. The older women of color usually at their poor decision making, at their choices. So what they do is they get mad at me for pointing it out, because a lot of them wish they could go back to her age. A lot of them wish that they could have this body again. A lot of them wish that they had a whole bunch of men that were drooling over them, because that's what she has.
She has a whole bunch of men drooling over her, right? I mean, it's like the double talk in some of this stuff, right? They're making her as like this poster child for what women should be, but at the same time, they're saying that women should be this, like, I don't know, like, do men want other men drooling all over their women? Like, I mean, I guess that's just like an understanding that I need to have, because apparently some people feel like this is, I mean, I feel like there's a divine balance between men who are flattered by other men thinking that their woman is attractive versus other men drooling over your woman. To me, when they're drooling over your woman, that means that there's a sexualized element that is being projected there, that they're drooling over her. And I just can't believe that men want that. Like, I mean, let me get to the chat. I'm sorry, you guys. Hang on, let me go back. Let's see. That's a good lesson and reminder that needs to be refreshed every so often, especially in the time of the fallen angels returning through AI and transhumanism. Even the oldest profession is being yeah. The devil is busy. What's going on, Ghetto Planet? I see you. I see you. I see you. You said you want a single girl to marry you? Well, hopefully you are a marryable man, right? Some of you men want things that you're not ready for, and vice versa to the women. So you said there's a truth in that, though. It's base instinct status received from bagging the baddest baddie. I mean, I get that, but once you get to a point where you have this woman as your wife, right? do men really just want that smoke? It seemed like a lot of men don't want that smoke. It's kind of like that's where they start telling her you're going to dress differently, right? And a lot of these women don't like that, right? Because you could dress like that and I got you, right? Like there had to been that little, cattle call a little bit, right? So she chose him out of that cattle call, dressing like she did before they got married. And I think with a lot of men, those standards tend to change. I know a lot of men, they don't allow their woman to dress in certain ways that she might have did before they got married. And a lot of women would feel resistant to that, saying, I'm grown. I was dressing like this before I met you, whoop de whoop de whoop. But at the same time, that man is not only trying to, it's not about him being jealous or anything like that. And I do think it's about him not wanting other men to be her calling attention to other men, right? Because the more sexualized a woman dresses, no matter if she's with her men, a lot of men take that as messaging that you want to be seen by other men, and they will be sometimes disrespectful, and that sometimes leads into him having to defend the honor of the relationship, the marriage, right? Because a message was sent, that even if it wasn't her intention, even if she said, I'm going out, I'm with my man, I'm doing this for my man, right? It still is being done for other people because it's on public display. And this is why a lot of men will ask their women to dial down how they're dressing, because they don't want those problems. They want to go out, have a good evening, right? Without everybody looking at their wife's titties or ass. And so I do think that as relationships become more serious, and especially when it gets in the realm of marriage, that a lot of men are going to demand that their woman adjust her dress, because it's like, if you still dressing like you did to get me, right, then that means that you're trying to get got or keep your options open to get got by somebody else. And I think a lot of men think like that. And so that's why some men will incline themselves to set standards for, what is too suggestive when their woman goes out, especially when she's not with them. And I don't think it's an unreasonable expectation, because, again, we don't want unnecessary attention on you. And men are visual creatures, and we cannot blame them for being visual creatures. But at the same time, we can sort of leave some mystery for them and challenge their imagination at that point, right? I always believe that a woman's mystery is her majesty. But this woman cooking with Kyra, she has no majesty. She has no grace. She's doing what will be perceived as graceful things in terms of the cooking and feeling obligated to cook for her man. But ultimately, this woman is not a graceful woman. And so I think that young men tend to get confused by all these projections of women. But, ultimately, it's going to boil down to what that woman is willing to modify about her presentation once she gets you, right? So if she's twerking, if Kyra's twerking her ass off, right, once she gets a man, right, will she stop that if he says, I don't want you on your TikTok doing that anymore? Or will she say, well, I was making money, I was doing this before you, right? And you're going to have to accept this, right? I'm cooking for your ass. I'm giving you my ass, right? Don't tell me what to do. That's pretty much what the cooking with Kyra types are like, you guys. And that's just my opinion about it. These bras are out here, literally, they know that the way to a man's heart is his stomach, right? They know it. They know it. And if you came from like an old school mama, or at least your aunties or somebody taught you how to cook, right? You already know that's just half the battle with a man, right? And we're not talking about that basic bitch Alfredo either, right? We're talking about seasoned chickens and steaks. Like, I'm teaching my son not to fall for these broads, right? You're not going to fall for a basic bitch Alfredo, right? We're going to see how she sautés. We're going to see how she seasons, right? We're going to see how she broil. Like, what is the instance in which she would want to broil, right? Like, let's see if she knows her way around the kitchen, right? Got to protect your sons. And I do agree, the women who can't cook, they're no good for your sons, right? They're no good for your sons. All right. Facts. Dress code changes in relationship. Thank you. Thank you, Roosevelt, for co-signing that. You don't dress the same way once you're in a relationship, especially as a woman, right? Because again, your mission is I found what I believe to be a good man, right? And when you find what you believe to be a good man, now you're just like, I want to maintain him, right? I'm not trying to disrespect him. I'm not trying to, and this really, like I said, godly people, they understand how to disown themselves, right? And people look at the mindset of disowning yourself as a bad thing. It really isn't, because when you learn how to step back from yourself and learn how to disown yourself, you understand how to be considerate of other people's feelings. Having a good man means that you got to protect him too, right? And one way that women can protect a good man is to go out with modesty and not causing trouble for that man by attracting unnecessary attention, right? And that's what it is. Men are going to be men regardless, but there's certain things that even women can do to protect themselves, their relationship, and specifically their men. Men and women should be protecting each other. And that's one way that women can protect their men. It's just mind how you dress so that you ain't got all these disrespectful, ass hungry men after your ass, right? Knowing that you got a man, but you're not dressing like you got a man, so those dudes are confused, right? So you want to protect your man by not confusing anybody, right? Cover up, ladies. Your mystery is your majesty. All right, let's see. If a man lets his woman exploit herself like that, he has other investments elsewhere. So him caring for her is okay to maintain control. Maybe, maybe. I mean, and that's sad, It's sad, If he's letting her dress like a hoe, what you're saying is that he already got other hoes anyway, so he don't care. And I think it goes back to that Cardi B and Offset, right? When you got a man that does not respect you, right? You have not really, you think, because of your money and fame that you deserve respect. And it's like, no, there is, you are still the quality and character person that you are. And I don't think that woman ever earned his respect outside of pop out some babies for his ass. And I mean, if Cardi B and Offset got divorced, did they get divorced? Is it final? Um, I'm pretty sure she had to settle because she has the highest net worth. The way a woman can protect her man is by doing their best to stay out of situations that would force her man to get violent with someone, because that is dangerous. But that's the thing though. I mean, it really goes back to that point I was saying. You got a woman claiming that she's dressing like a slut for her man, right? But you got all these other men who are admiring all her assets and all of this about her, right? And some men, they're very overt with their eyes, right? I mean, I've seen dudes, you feel like they're undressing with you with their eyes. You just like, and then you got to give them like a yuck face, like get the fuck on. You got to turn on that like feminism a little bit, just to get them like, just stop being so creepy with your eyes, right? But men are visual creatures. And, a lot of men can't take other men coveting their women. They just can't take it. Some of these dudes are very territorial when it comes to their women, and they don't play those games, right? They will confront another dude, no problem, right? Because of him just maybe coveting his woman the wrong way. But at the root of that issue is not the other man. The root of that issue is not the other man and his eyes wandering up and down on that other man's woman. The root is the woman, because she is dressing in a manner that says that I'm not just for my man, because I'm showing everything to all the other people, right? And so, I mean, again, people get killed for just simple shit like that. It just really is true. That is very true. You said there's cooking requirements with me. There are levels. That's true. I'm telling you, it's about the spices, seasonings, you know, marinating. What's your marinating game like? What are the spices in your marinades? It's a whole lot of stuff beyond salt and pepper. So, you know, and then I hate it like with these young women, they be like making back baked macaroni and cheese and the shit looks so runny and cheesy. It's like, can we get some noodles with that cheese? Like you're making mac and cheese, not cheesy noodles. Like, some of that stuff looks gross to me, you know. And you should be putting ricotta cheese in your baked macaroni and cheese, ladies. The ricotta is definitely a good addition to that. But anyways, let's see. You said hello from Russia. Nigga, I don't know who you talking to, hello from Russia. And I don't know if Russians are just that stupid, just coming up saying shit, but we gonna go ahead and block you because you're not gonna ever come to my channel saying shit like that. You're just stupid as hell. Let's see. All right, cool. So let's go back to this because this guy is saying stuff about the women, the older women being jealous of the younger women. So let's go ahead and say this. Go ahead.
Welcome to another video. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya.
Okay, so she goes, another video, guys. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Then she turns around, drop it low, right? This is Cooking with Kaya, you guys.
Cooking with Kaya.
And she's moving her cheeks. She's for everybody.
And it's kind of embarrassing because I feel like cooking is a bragging right for men. Like, men like to brag about their wives who can cook. Like, you'll hear a guy say something like, hey, my wife, she'll whip you up something good in the kitchen. Right? Fellas, even if you're not married, but you have a girlfriend and you know that she can cook, you will brag to your boys. You'll be like, hey, yo, son, my girl, flicker the wrist.
Okay, seriously. Oh, there's some of these people, these culture vultures. But she's saying, what she's saying is right on point though, right? I've always heard that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? That saying never goes away. I don't think it will ever go away, right? Take the relationship of man and woman out of the picture. Think about like your best friend circle, right? The one who brings all the best dishes and all the food and the great food, and she's just into baking and everything. She always got something creative. We love that friend. She's like our favorite friend, right? Because she is, food is, a part of, a happy soul a lot of times. So if you got a man and he actually likes his woman's cooking, right? That is a relatively happy man. I mean, even, I think men who have a woman who can actually cook a meal, multiple types of meal, right? I think that his tolerance level can even be a little bit lower. Oh, I'm sorry, a little bit higher with those women just because it's like, well, her ass can cook. Like Big Shirley is a damn mess. She just a little firecracker, but her ass can cook, right? The way to a man's heart is his stomach, right? But, I think that, I don't think that, I see a lot of younger women who are talking about this Cooking with Kyra stuff. So I don't think this is an older woman thing. And I'm looking at Kyra's body and I'm saying 3 kids from now, okay, Kyra's body is going to look like mine anyways. Like this is me coming from an older woman. And if she is as housewifey and divine feminine as she projects herself to these simple men on the internet, right? Then, she's going to concede that, that natural body that she has, right? If she attracts the man that she wants, 1 or 2 kids later, and this girl could easily get into the mom bod
Hated
category.
ads. Here's what
Because mom bod is, I got mom bod. All right. And it's like we ain't snatched anymore unless you were going and getting surgeries, right? I never wanted to get surgery or tummy tucks, because I feel like, you know, again, my body is my stripes as a woman. And so when I see my little womb pooch or whatever, because I have 3 kids, I'm not really excited to go and just like hide the fact that I had kids, trying to get and achieve an idea of my body that I had before I had kids, because again, I had kids. And I think that a lot of women have been conditioned to hate their bodies post pregnancy. And, it's sad, but I'm not trying to tummy tuck my womb, right? I'm not trying to get my stretch marks LASIK off of me or anything like that. Like, those are my stripes. Those are my stripes. That is proof that I had children. No, I'm never going to be, like cooking with Kyra again. And I think most women are realistic about that. I hope that they are. I hope that the most reasonable women, we know we're never going to look like we did in high school. Only women who are obsessed with beauty are concerned about that. Like, we're not, right? So it's like we're going to age gracefully with our bodies, and we're not going to be sitting up there jealous of younger women and their bodies because they haven't done time on this earth like we did. They haven't did shit to really get full-blown woman card to me, right? And again, everybody can think how they want to. There's a difference between women and chicks, right? Chicks are the broads running around here with no kids, don't want to have kids or think they got time to have kids, right? And then you have the women, the ones that actually went out and had children, and brought cubs out. They're raising cubs. They're living for something other than themselves. And they maybe have a man to help them support all of that, and that's a gift, So that's my ideas about cooking with Kyra. I don't think any 40 plus woman should be jealous of this young lady, right? Because she's not a real commodity to a man. There's nothing really to be jealous of. It's just a thought that can cook. A bad bitch that can cook. And that's an arrogant woman, right? Because her value is her ass, right? That her ideals of herself as a bad bitch, right? And, if you got the bad bitch mentality, I'm telling you, men, if your woman is going around saying that she's a bad bitch, right? You don't have a controllable woman. You don't have a woman that's going to ever respect your leadership. You don't have a woman that's going to value anything that you do. And she's going to be constantly looking to upgrade your ass because in her mind, she's a bad bitch. And if you can't deliver for what a bad bitch wants, all the unreasonable things, right, then you become a luxury. Nice to have, but not essential. Because these women with these mentalities, they are chasing the money, right? And they're going to give the value that they think that you want. So they're going to be able to cook you hella meals, right? They're going to be able to just probably do all kinds of tricks on your penis, right? But they're going to be siphoning you. They're going to be expecting for you to make poor financial decisions on their behalf because they're doing all of those things for you, and they're a bad bitch that cooks for you and makes you breakfast. So you better be not just holding down a household for them. You have to be holding down a lifestyle. Okay? There's a difference between the man that is holding down a household and the man that is holding down a woman's lifestyle. You are not the same men. The man that is holding down the woman's lifestyle will typically be siphoned by bitches for the rest of his days. And maybe he likes that. Or maybe he settles for that just to have the company and companionship. But again, there is a difference between these types of men. All right? Man that manages a household and a woman in a household. Man that sponsors the lifestyle of a woman. And this is one of those women that you're going to have to sponsor her lifestyle. All right? She's going to be very financially demanding to you. All right. 100% bad bitches are insatiable. Okay. And thank you. The gym and fasting fix it. Here's the thing. I like to dance, right? And like I said, I don't believe in getting like super out of shape or anything like that, but I don't work out. Like I feel like all the moving around that I do with my kids, I like to stop and dance because I think dancing is a joyous thing, but I really don't. I just like kind of like what are my goals fitness wise, right? It's like I don't want to be like super duper big, right? So I know I don't want to be that, right? So I watch what I eat. Like I said, I intermediate fast every day. So I'm like eating very, very little, you know, throughout the day. I have I would say I don't eat anything in the morning time. I can't even break my fast in the morning because it'll make me sick. So I don't really eat anything until about 1 or 2 o'clock every day. And I eat my biggest meal at that time so that like as the evening progressed, then I can just eat like the French, like a couple of little. I think the French have it right when it comes to the way that they eat. Is it them that eat their bigger meals during lunchtime and then in the evening time they're like more, they eat just very little? I like the way that the French actually eat. I like the French diet a lot. Like I give, the French their props on just kind of how they eat, if I can remember it the right way. But I like intermediate fasting now, so it's like, but I like eating good food. I like my indulgences, but I guess I should probably make a New Year's goal to go to the gym. But it's like I don't know if I really want to be like I feel like this, y'all. I'm over 40. And after this whole BBL debacle, like all these girls going out and actually buying my body, like just buying like my natural body, my natural over 40 woman had kids body, because that's basically what the BBL broads are doing. They want broader hips, wider ass. They want all of the whitening that I had just going and having kids. They want that prematurely, right? So I'm like, these bras are going out buying my body. Like, so it's like, I should just be happy with my body. You know what I mean? And not, not worry about that, right? Because it's like, shoot, I'll take my 40-year-old body. These bras, these young girls are buying the 40-year-old body. So how are the older women jealous of these young girls? They're going out and buying the 40-year-old woman body who actually had kids. Because that's what the BBL body is, really. Right? Especially if you're the woman that actually nursed your kids, right? Nursing just sinks it all in while all of this stays out, so you get that BBL body. So these bitches are going out and literally buying the nursing mom's body. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing, right? That is exactly what they're doing. So yeah, so shout out to my ladies, my lionesses who gave birth, right? You gave birth to cubs. You are the real women, right? Some of these women are projecting that they are real women, right? Just because they can make a couple of little dishes, right? But then they're out there shaking their asses on the internet for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And we should not be jealous that every Tom, Dick, and Harry are coveting these types of women because they're sexualizing themselves. No, we should be feeling sorry for everyone involved, her and all of the simps that think that this is an ideal woman because she said that she would serve you breakfast. Sad. Anyways, you guys, let's see what's going on. AK Blaze, I see you. I see you, Raul. Right? Let me know what you guys think. You admire my skincare? Cucumber. Cucumber is God's just gift to women. Cucumber and sleep. Right? In about a couple of hours, I have to go down for my scheduled slumbers. Yes, indeed, I do. My Sabbath nap. I talk about my Saturday Sabbath nap all the time. All right. This is Sabbath time. This is the period of rest. And I take that very, very seriously. Right. So I do my Sabbath time nap. And I'm so excited. And that is really the secret to youth. All right. I'll be 42 soon. And Sabbath nap is my lifeline to youth. All right. And just being a joyous person. I think that, being a joyful person, operating with more grace, it gives you more peace. Right. And I just don't feel like you age in dog years like some of these people who are stressed over Satan's expectations of themselves, in his world, So again, I say the children of Yahuwah, we do not have the same problems as other people. And I heard one brother say, oh, the children of Israel, they're bougie. And it's like, I don't like that word bougie, right? But I do like the word blessed. And we are blessed, if you're in covenant. So if you're in covenant, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to all those who observe and who keep the Sabbath on the seventh day. Shabbat Shalom to you. And I hope that you guys have a restful day. Love your neighbors as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse your neighbor, do not disrespect or abuse, yourself. Do not. And you know what? Before I go, I wanted to just say a few things too. And this is for my brothers and sisters who are praying for God for certain blessings. You are in covenant, right? But it feels like God is not listening to you, right? Or maybe God is not interested in delivering for you. And what I do tell you is to be patient with the Lord. And everything is done in his due time. He giveth to who he gives, and he shows mercy to whom he wants to. But, just a reminder that Abraham and Sarah, they were a barren couple. All right. They were barren and they were righteous people. And Sarah was ridiculed. She was ridiculed by the women around her for being so beautiful, but she was barren, right? Sarah wasn't able to give Abraham his first son by her until Abraham was 100 years. So they went 25 years knowing that they would have a seed, generations and a nation would be born from them, right? But they went years without, even after that particular prophecy, they still went another 25 years because they left right? They left their land, they left their people, right? And that shows you how much Sarah respected the leadership of her husband. She left everything so that they could go to the land of Canaan, right? But again, waiting for God, right? And sometimes it can make you laugh as you wait for God. Sometimes you can lose belief, right? And Sarah was one of those women, right? She lost belief, even when the angel told her that you will have a child, right? Sarah didn't believe it, right? She just like, look, I'm old. And Sarah ended up having Isaac. And Isaac's name meant laughter because Sarah laughed at God that she would have a child as an older woman. And she did. Because even in her older age, she was still beautiful to God. She was still worthy to God. And she was still an integral part of his purpose. And so through obviously Abraham's seed with Sarah, obviously that is where we get our Messiah coming through. So be patient with God. All right. Sometimes we want things. We have a human mindset about timelines. And there's always a divine timeline. And if you're somebody who is truly in covenant with the Most High, you're living your life the best way you can to his righteous standards. You've divorced yourself from Satan's world. You understand what it means to be in covenant. Always be patient, right? And just always remember those times in which God's promises, even though they were prophesied, A lot of them did not come into fruition until like hundreds of years after the prophecy. So God is always on time. He's never late. He always gives human beings time to adjust their actions and their course before he starts exercising judgment. We see this with the nation of Israel several times in the Bible where they had opportunity to correct course and they didn't. And so when their judgments came upon them, nobody should have felt bad for them at all. I don't feel bad for the ancient Israelites. They got what they deserved and they continued to stay out of covenant. And it got to the point, final destination was the Romans came in and gave them the business, right? Destroyed the second temple. But obviously, God saw fit to preserve a remnant of Abraham's seed. And obviously, there's, people question who that remnant is. It's definitely not Khazarians or sons or descendants of Ashkenaz or Slavic people. It's not them. But believe what you want to believe. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Shout out to you, Ghetto Planet. We see you. If InfoWayo showed up, what's up to you? I'm about to get out of here. Again, if you did content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and we can continue enlightening each other with God's perspective about these affairs of men. They're funny to me. It's all a divine comedy to me at the end of the day, seeing how humanity is playing out and also seeing how oblivious humanity is as well. I'm going to probably do an overview. I want to kind of get my ducks in a row. Probably in January, I'll kick off the year with an overview of Daniel's prophecy. I love Daniel's prophecy. We're going to contrast it to Daniel's prophecy and Elder John's revelation. So we'll do that in January because normally I'm unscripted. All right. I might write down a few notes, but most of the times on this blog, I am talking off the top of my head. Right. I'm not scripted. So talking off the top of my head, freestyling this, but things like that, I do want to be more sensitive because I want to make sure that I'm conveying the right information that needs to be conveyed based off of the ancient text. I always give a prayer to the Most High before I deliver anything. I might probably have to get my head covered up for that too. So it's a whole lot of stuff going on that I want to prepare for before we get into Daniel's prophecy in January. So I might do some live streams, before the end of the year, right? But this is my slow down period, you guys. I'm really into just getting my house organized for the new year, making sure God's spirit is free flowing in the house, and just making sure that I get my kids all situated because, yeah, it's winter break, so I got to entertain them. So we're going to see about doing some fun winter stuff downtown Detroit. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.